All right, today I'm going to walk you through how to generate a block theme with WordPress's new tool, Telex. Now, Telex is from the parent company Automattic of WordPress, and essentially it's a no-code or vibe coding tool where you can enter a prompt for it to build kind of whatever you want, and it will do that in WordPress, and in particular in WordPress blocks, which is WordPress's basically answer to some of the other page builders that are out there, like Elementor is one popular one, or Divi. There's several on the market now. Beaver Builder is another one. And it's kind of the future of WordPress here. So let's go ahead and get started and build a site here. So I'm in my Telex account here, and let's just create let's just give it kind of a vague description. Let's see what it generates here. I'll go ahead and click build. And just for the sake of this video, this does take a few minutes here. I'm going to push pause and I'll come back when this finishes. All right, this is still going, but let's talk through blocks for a minute and what they are. Like I said before, blocks are sort of a page builder, an answer to some of the other page builders that are out there. So here's kind of an example of what it looks like. It allows you to kind of click and change. If I wanted to bold this, I could. If I wanted to change it to an H2, I could. Oops, I didn't have it selected there. I guess it just doesn't have the sizes set here. But you can, oops, you can select items like this. I don't want to do that. You can select items and change them. I can delete. If I wanted to delete the button, I could. I can point and click and change. I can also add elements. If I wanted to add like a block quote here, I could. And this is a great site, quote unquote. So that's the essentially the idea with the block editor is to make things easy, and Gutenberg in general. Gutenberg is kind of a system that powers all of this, but the block editor is sort of these patterns and blocks. You can see them over here. But if you wanted to embed a video, you could do that. You know, drag and drop, upload, or insert from the URL. So it gives all these different options that you have that are flexible, and it's supposed to make it a bit easier to build a website and put what you want where you want it, even if you're not technical. So that's sort of a block theme. Let's check on our generator here. Okay, so it looks like this just finished. It's like we got an error, playground changing safe processing. Okay, I'm not sure why that is, but okay, so it took my can theme. You can see I'm over here. I'm in kind of the block editor within Telex. Didn't really do a whole lot here. So that's kind of a strikeout here. Literally all it did is created a header section with a button there, but at the same time I really only gave it like a vague um, a vague prompt here. Let's see if we can add. Let's see if we can add something to this. So please add a section for services. Let's do hair, nails, and what else did they do at a salon? Massage. All right, let's try that and see what it does. All right, so it's off again, editing, which is good. One of the things I found with a lot of these builders is that they just generate the first version of whatever you have, and from there you have to manually edit it. Which you know, the fact that you can actually modify this right here is very handy because if you've been using AI at all, you know that it's extremely useful but it also makes mistakes. It also sometimes leaves things a little vague. Sometimes you need to modify things, or provide a different prompt in order to improve the results that you get. So this is a very good feature if they continue with this particular product. So let's go back over here to the Gutenberg editor, just kind of show you, or the block editor rather, some of the other things you can do here. So again, replacing images, um, so all the different blocks. Here's some of the common blocks here. Paragraph heading, media, text, image, cover, gallery, video, audio, columns, file, code, and list. Those are probably the most common ones for this, but obviously you can see here there's some custom ones that can be added by different platforms, different embeds and different things that you can do with it. So there's a whole lot more than this, but those are the primary. All right, let's check on our changes real quick. Okay, so let's scroll down. All right. Well, this is good and bad. Number one, it's kind of the same background color, so I think I need to give it more specific prompts here because it just kind of kept the same background color, which if you've been in web development for any number of years, you know that that's not good practice. You want to kind of vary the different background sections. The other thing I don't like I like that it did, but I don't like that it did, is it used this like kind of cartoony clip art, which is very 1990s. Um, and it did get the imagery right, but we'll have to change out that icon library there with something a little bit more modern. Not the end of the world, not the end of the world, but certainly has its flaws. All right, so let's do one more change here and try to pair and give it some more information. All right, so first is, and you use a more modern icon set. Also, please change the background to a different shade of tan. The background of the services section to a different shade of tan. All right, so let's see if you can do those kind of two commands there, and I'll come back when this thing completes here. Right, so this thing just finished and it's refreshing the page, and it shows kind of the default WordPress install first, and let's see what it did. Okay, all right, that's a little better as far as the background. I think AI sort of hallucinated here with the icon set. I guess I need to be a little more specific and say use like font awesome, or something something more commonly known and accepted. Be a little more specific with the icons. That actually got worse. So let me see. Is there a way to revert the changes? If I do this, will it revert it? Okay, it will not. So that is sort of a limitation here. Most of the AI no code builders will allow you to like revert. So like I could come up here and I could click on like go back to this version or whatever, and it would do that. Um, this tool does not have that option, which is definitely a limitation. And then another thing I'm looking at here is I'm not seeing a way to add or edit like a header or footer. So this is just strictly for pages and for blocks themselves on, say, a page, a particular page, like the home page or something like that. So let's go ahead and just save this, and let's see what happens when we download and install it. So I got it there. Let's go over to my clean WordPress install here, and let's go ahead and install. And let's see what happens. Okay. Well, that's a problem. So this is a WordPress owned tool, but it is missing the actual style sheet, which is a core piece of core piece of a theme. Let me pause for a minute and see if I'm missing something. Okay, so I opened up the actual zip that I got here. Let's see if you guys can see it. And this appears to be not an entire theme. It actually only appears to be the block patterns themselves, and that's why it's missing the style sheet. So that makes a little more sense, but it is kind of confusing if you don't know this already and you don't know how these things are structured. And so let's see the README. Um, yeah, so you upload. Okay, so this is actually a plugin. So it's a plugin that you have to activate in order to get whatever block themes that you had there. Okay, so that's good to know because I was actually going to try to import the actual block theme. So let's go ahead and try that real quick. So at least they provide instructions, but it's not super user friendly. I wouldn't have known that without doing this. So let's go ahead and try to do that and see if this works. Okay, so plugin installed successfully, and then let's see if I go into the page editor, I can add, this is for a different site that I have here, so just excuse that, but this is my last test. Let's see if there's what I would have called it, Beauty Salon Hero. There it is. Okay. So it's calling this the whole hero section. So this is going to look kind of weird, but we'll bring it over here just to see what it does. Okay. So then it looks like it might have worked. Let's go ahead and hit save. And again, this is not a beauty salon website, so excuse that, but let's just see if this actually works. And it did. So that is pretty neat. Although kind of clunky in how it's structured, that it's the fact that it's a plugin and not a theme. Once you know that that is the case, you know. But if you don't know that and you're a beginner to this, that's that's going to create a lot of problems. But that worked. Great. So if you want to try this tool out for yourself, go over to I think it's telex.automatic with two T's.ai, and that will give you you'll be able to sign in and create a theme. As of right now, there's no price for this tool. There's no costing to it. I imagine Automatic will charge for it at some point. But for now, you can experiment and create blocks. So sort of my thoughts on the pros and cons of this. First is that its install is kind of confusing. I wish it gave you more instruction. Fortunately, it's in the README, but most people wouldn't know to even do that if they're a WordPress beginner or they're not a WordPress expert. So the fact that it's a plugin and not a theme is kind of weird to me, but sort of makes sense in hindsight, but it's still kind of weird just on what I've seen with other tools. Another limitation to this is that this looks like it generates blocks specifically, not necessarily full themes. So if you want to design your header or footer or an entire site, this is probably not the tool for you because it doesn't appear to allow you to do that. So you still have to have some sort of way to generate an entire site with AI. It's not like a full builder yet. So you still might need something like Cadence, or you might need something to customize, maybe like a theme from Theme Forest or something like that that you can use for header and footer, or you can do it in the if you have a Gutenberg full site editor compatible theme already, then you could probably do it there with the full site editor. But that's still kind of a limitation here because the menu is on every page, the footer's on every page in most sites, and that's something that you want to have some design control over, call to action buttons and things like that. So that's a limitation as well. But otherwise, the tool kind of sort of works. Oh, and then the other thing is these icons. It looks like AI hallucinated a bit with this, and which is not uncommon if you built anything at all with AI. You're going to have some hallucinations and things that you need to change. One positive aspect of this tool is it does let you change it with the AI assistant over here. Most tools that I've tried do not allow you to do that. For instance, ZipWP does not. Whatever it generates, you get. Same thing with SeedProd, their AI tool. You get one generate, and then that's what you got to work with, whether you like it or not. So if you really want to get started with AI and generating WordPress themes, I'd recommend the tool PressMeGPT.com. This is an example site that I created. You can go there, you can sign up for free and try it for yourself. But I'll just go into this beauty salon example that I created. And I started with a pretty short description. I gave it the color. I gave it basically the three services. I didn't even add the image until later. I generated the themes with it. So what's nice about this particular tool is instead of just generating one theme, you can actually, it actually generates three to pick from. And so you can actually preview, and see what they look like and go back. I ended up picking this theme as my favorite. Thought it matched what I was going for the best. And if you go into customize, you can kind of see how I changed it in time. It has a similar sort of section for adding changes, updating. You can see what I did here, adding an image. Right here, I did that with the images tab and actually found, let's just say like hair. So it has this built in, so you can find stock photography here. Or you can upload your own. That's an option as well. You can come in here, you can change some of the colors, the primary, secondary colors, the hover colors. Then there's also typography settings here. You can change the actual, heading font, or you can change the body font. You can change the sizing a little bit. So it gives you some controls here to, see what it looks like. So I can scale this back a little bit if I wanted to, make it a little bit more reasonable here. I think that looks pretty good. Gives you kind of a preview down here. Let's apply those changes. You can see they're instant, and then it shows up right over here. The other thing I really like about it is the icon set. You saw on the other one, the icons kind of hallucinated a bit. Over here, it supports Lucid React and also Font Awesome, which is my personal favorite. That's usually my go-to with sites that I'm designing. Very easy to use, lots of icons to pick from. And in this case, I had it had a different icon here under nails. I went ahead and had it change the icon to a hand icon, and it did pretty good right out the gates. Nothing I really need to change a whole lot there, at least from like a first draft perspective. And then one unique thing about this tool over the others, as you just saw, is that you can actually, it actually generates a header and footer as well. That's all compatible with full site editor once you export and import the site. So let's go ahead and preview the whole thing here. You can kind of see what it looks like. And it looks pretty good to me. For a first draft, let's go ahead and export it. And you can see you have the option of Classic, which is, there's still a lot of websites that use Classic. So if you need the theme, you could use it that way. Or you could use more of the modern technology here, which is the block theme. And so that's what we're going to select. I'm going to go and download. All right, so that just popped up. We're good to go there. Let's go back over to our WordPress and install this particular theme. So let's delete what we just put in here. All right, let's go back. Oops, we can save it. Let's go back. Go into themes. Let's add a theme and upload a theme the same way. Which to me, this makes more sense. I was building a theme. I should install a theme versus a plugin, which is kind of unusual. The theme installed successfully. Let's go and activate it. And there it is. And then let's go to the site and refresh and see what we have. Okay. So now you'll see a theme that actually represents what we just designed, which is also really cool. With a couple of issues, I see this one issue here where it didn't get the, looks like a bug maybe, where it didn't export the correct color. That, it was a lighter color, I believe, over in the theme itself. If I go back here and take a look, yeah, you can see it's a lighter white color. That's okay. That's an easy fix. I'll show you in just a minute how to do that. But nice thing is that I have my menu is intact and my footer's intact, and all of those are editable as well. So let's go ahead and change this color real quick, just to kind of show you how easy this is to edit the page. We highlight this and we pick a color and save. Just like that, I can refresh, and the white color. Now let's go in and take a look at changing maybe the header a little bit. So you go into, this is full site editor, and it replaced the WordPress customizer. If you go down into patterns here, you can actually go to header, and there it is. You can come in here. If you wanted to replace your logo, you could. This is just a dummy logo I have there for testing purposes. And then same thing here. I could edit and delete this if I didn't want this example page. Let's go ahead and save that just to show you what it looks like. And then let's go over here. Oops, wrong tab. Here's the tab. And refresh. And you can see that the menu item's gone. Same thing if you wanted to edit the footer. Once I find the right tab here, I can go back. I can click in patterns and go into footer. And if we wanted to change this to the beauty salon, we could do that. Save. And you can see it says beauty salon. Let's refresh. The beauty salon. There it is. So we're good to go here. So in my opinion, this tool is the most powerful one that's out right now. If you want to try it, visit PressMeGPT.com, sign up for a free account, try it for yourself, and let me know what you think about the two tools, Telex and PressMeGPT, in the comments.